Hello Libra, Libra Rising, and Libra Moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for the month of November 2017. And a quick reminder for all of y'all out there, remember that these horoscopes cover the big sweeping shifts that are going on as the big background energies of the month. And I don't put any information in here that's only going to be there for a day. You know, in fact, I don't really talk about anything in the monthly horoscopes that doesn't go on for less than 2 weeks. I mean, that doesn't go on for more than 2 weeks. So if you are looking for shorter term aspects, some people are always asking me about like very specific daily things, and I'm always like, look, that'll probably be in the weeklies. And you should check out the weeklies, because the first half is exclusively astrology, and that's where we talk about flavor of the week, flavor of the day type of stuff. Not so much appropriate for big sweeping monthly forecasts, though. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com. So what does your November look like anyway? Well, all month, we've got Mars, planet of action, energy, and conviction, and passion in your sign. So we've got the wild card blessing of Mars surging through your sign without stopping from start to finish. And when Mars is in your sign, you basically get all the quality of Mars to actually use. And this is how you use things in astrology. Astrology, you know, remember, you don't just sit back and let things happen to you and hope for miracles. You take advantage of the weather, so to speak. And with Mars in the first house, you know, this is a time where if you are trying to overcome any kind of major persistent obstacles in your life, whether they are tangible obstacles or internal obstacles, Mars is allowing us to actually finally get through or get clear of some kind of major wall or major hurdle to our personal advancement, or even our mundane advancement when it talks about things like money and love and things like that. And, you know, because it can be used for mundane purposes too. And I think that what we see with Mars in your sign is that this is a month where a lot of Libra people, if there has been some kind of major looming shadow overhead, you know, this could be talking about settling a credit score, this could be talking about getting past some serious red tape at work, this could be talking about getting past some kind of major obstacle when it comes to maybe getting into the school you desire, or maybe being able to travel, or do whatever, whatever hold up is going on there. This Mars energy is actually saying, for those brave enough to go and face this head on, I will be there, and you most likely will actually get it cleared this month, so make sure that you are committed. On the 4th of the month, we do have a full moon in Taurus, in your 8th house of shared resources, passive income, as well as intimacy. And we're starting off with a very, very romantic type of energy here. Whenever we have a full moon in the 8th house, things get kind of hot. And the first 2 weeks of the month, from the 4th through about the 18th, do look like a bit of a resurgence of a honeymoon phase, and you may either be embarking on a bit of a little honeymoon phase for yourself and your partner. You may actually be seeing that around the 4th, or on around the 4th, things are definitely getting a lot more intimate and romantic, you know, as far as the energy just getting really high at that time. This could also be a great time for those of you who are just looking for a bit of a fun holiday, so to speak. If you are looking to just sort of have that with anybody, you know, just kind of get that energy jump started again, this full moon is a lot of help there. This can also be great for clearing, and this is a wonderful time for getting rid of anything that, again, is hanging overhead. The 8th house, when we talk about shared resources, this can also talk about debts, this can talk about loans, this can talk about also getting things squared away, where there are maybe some contracts or some deals that we don't want to have a part of anymore. So there could be a lot of good going on with that full moon between the 4th and the 18th. On the 5th, we've got Mercury, planet of communications, haste, and speed, moving into Sagittarius, into your 3rd house of communications, pacts, and promises. And this is an accelerant. Remember, wherever Mercury goes, we have accelerations. And over the course of, from the 5th through the end of the month, you're going to be noticing that if there are any leftover, I guess you could say, arrangements, or again, promises or obligations that you have to others, or that they have to you, that they have not fulfilled, Mercury is going to be accelerating the fruition and the completion of those tasks. Mercury in the 3rd house as well could actually be really good for publicity, especially for those of you who are trying to maybe draw some attention to maybe a publishing project that you have. The 3rd and the 9th house tend to be very, very good for those people who work online or have websites that they depend on to direct their business. And Mercury in the 3rd house as well could be drawing you up a lot of attention at the office, especially when it comes to you being able to start addressing groups or perhaps being let into some bigwig inner circles. So it looks like a lot of good stuff going on with the peers between the 5th and the end of the month as well. On the 7th of the month, we've got Venus, planet of love, harmony, but also passion and favor, going into Scorpio, into your 2nd house, your earned income and employment sector. And we've got favors coming your way. And of course we've got Jupiter there as well, which is totally gorgeous, but we've got favors that come from Venus. Whenever we have Venus in a financial sector, we tend to notice money coming easy. Now, this does actually mean that sometimes we'll be getting paid more for doing less work. Sometimes we'll be getting paid more this month for doing the same old thing. And you may be even noticing people actually doing favors for you, you know, pulling some strings on your behalf, going out of their way to try and make sure that you are, you know, well taken care of. And a new moon in this area on the 18th could indicate that these favors could promise you a new job in the last 2 weeks of the month. If you're looking for a new role, you're looking for a higher pay grade, anything along those lines. You know, of course, I never recommend people, again, just sitting back and being passive and waiting for miracles when it comes to astrology, but you know what? This kind of energy does actually indicate popularity, and you successfully leveraging that popularity or that favor, and such things could happen during this time. A new moon in the earned income sector does indicate a new type of paycheck. This may even be something additional to what you're used to getting, or again, just an improvement on what you've come to expect. And again, the last 2 weeks of the month look very, very nice for that. On the 21st of the month, we do have the Sun moving into Sagittarius, that 3rd house of communications, pacts, and promises, where he will be all the way up until about middle of the 3rd week of December. And when the Sun is in our 3rd house of communications, pacts, and promises, we're talking about getting more out of that energy there. We're talking about getting, we're either improving the energy there or increasing the yield, the profit, the gain from that house. And your 3rd house is all about your peers. It's all about your colleagues. It's all about your vocational training. It's all about publishing, what you put out there, who you're communicating with. And we could be actually going over and reviewing a lot of arrangements and agreements that we are either signed into formally, like a contract, or even verbal agreements and promises that we're, you know, we kind of live by, and actually optimizing them to be updated to the present. You know, there could be actually some big improvements that come from this, where we're getting more out of the work we're doing with, say, an assistant or a partner. We're getting more out of the, you know, maybe out of the help we're getting from a networking group. If you work with, say, a recruiter, an accountant, a broker, an agent, anyone who's considered a helpful third-party person, the Sun in this area means that they're going to be working double time and actually possibly bringing in more opportunity to you, or again, increasing the yield of their efforts. Possibly the most they've done all year. So there could be some unexpected gifts or surprises for a lot of you Libra people out there who have those kinds of folks running around in your life right now. Finally, last aspect I'm going to talk about, Neptune, turning direct in your 6th house of work, reputation, and physical health. Now with Neptune retrograde in the 6th house, a lot, you know, and it's been retrograde there since, you know, for almost 6 months. Neptune retrograde in the 6th house is a very interesting thing, because for the most part, Neptune retrograde can actually be very helpful here. Neptune retrograde, like all outer planets when they're retrograde, they tend to be double-edged swords, you know, or all planets, outer planets in general, tend to be double-edged swords. You know, there's good and there's bad. A good astrologer ain't gonna cherry-pick that. But I have noticed that when you have Neptune retrograde in either, say, houses 3, 6, or even 12, I'm sorry, not 12, 3, 6, or 11, we tend to see things a little bit, you know, easier on people in those areas. And when we have Neptune retrograde in the 6th house, you know, you've been able to kind of change your reputation to the way, you know, people are seeing you as you are, not the way that, you know, has been projected upon you. which can be really, really helpful, because, you know, sometimes we have these identity crises, you know, it comes to our reputation. You know, people see us a certain way. Sometimes it's in a perfectly good way, but it's just wrong and inaccurate. But with Neptune retrograde, it's been, look, you know, there is no hiding the truth. You know, there's no rose-colored glasses, and there's no negative bias. There is just, look, this is who you are, and now we can see you as you are. And the interesting thing about this is this has been working a lot in your favor. But one of the things I would say with Neptune retrograde is that it's also kind of hard to grow and change your reputation. Even if it's still honest, you know, people might hold you to an association or an identity that even you're trying to grow out of, even though, you know, again, at least people are looking at the truth and not what they're projecting. Luckily, as Neptune turns direct, we have an opportunity to play with it a little bit, transmute it a little bit. We can be a bit more fluid with the way people look at us, whether it's in our social life, our personal life, our work life. On the health front, though, this might be a little bit tricky, okay? Neptune retrograde, when it comes to your physical health, can indicate a wonderful time for people to start discovering issues or challenges, either on a physical health level, a mental health level, spiritual health level, emotional health level, that they didn't see before. When Neptune goes direct, be very, very mindful when it comes to things that you may be developing an intolerance for. Alright, I've seen Neptune in the 6th house, you know, transiting the 6th house for folks before, where they suddenly develop allergies to certain types of foods, certain types of medications. You may have discovered these things over the course of Neptune retrograde. Well, after it goes direct, pay very close attention to your body and to your mind and how it reacts to these kinds of things. Because Neptune, being one of the big rulers of, you know, substances and reactions and things like that, could still be, you know, making a bit of a fuss. Luckily, though, we still have more good, so just stick to that one there, okay? Because Neptune's going to be direct here for a long time, okay? It won't be going retrograde again until next year. So anywho, that is your horoscope. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.